Hey, this is Luke with another Android Guys podcast. I'm here with Scott. Hey, Scott.
Hey, buddy.
How are you?
I don't know.
You don't
I
know?
wasn't ready to answer that.
Oh, that seems weird.
Yeah. I was just thinking about this before we hit record.
Okay.
How many times people will listen to our podcast and go, these effing guys and their stupid intro, they never know how they're doing.
Just knuckleheads.
Scott doesn't know how he's doing. He has to try to come up with something fun to say, some synonym or something. Right. Yeah, whatever.
Well, hey, you're still listening, hopefully. So
yeah. Well, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
If you are new to the Android Guys podcast, hey, consider subscribing.
Yes.
If you like us, tell a friend. That'll help.
Yeah.
That, feed the algorithm to kind of boost us.
Yeah.
Smash that like button, whatever format you're at.
Yeah. However that works.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. You're going to let us know what you think about, you like that? That was a good one.
That's a beautiful segue.
That was a good one. You're going to let us know what you think about two products.
Yes, I'm going to do.
We get a 2 for today.
2 for 1.
Yeah.
So we are going to talk about, or I'm going to talk about 2 products from a brand called DREO.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this kind of colors outside of the lines a bit in terms of what you might expect from a mobile-based site.
Sure.
A smartphone-centric kind of site.
There's some smarts
there are
baked in.
And the one particular, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
So a couple of years ago, this would have been something that I would have said, we're not interested in that type of thing.
Sure.
We're just strictly cell phones and Android, but we've expanded a little bit and kind of opens the door for other opportunities to learn about products and check out new things. And we have a lot of companies send us things here, and this is a company that I felt like sharing. So
yeah,
DREO has sent us, I think, an air purifier in the past. We might have even covered here on the podcast. Today, I'm going to talk about the it's called the DREO Macro Max S. It's an air purifier. And then I'll talk about the DREO Solaris Max space heater.
Ooh.
So 2 different products. One is an air purifier. The other one is a little heater. And here in the middle of the winter.
Those are nice.
Yes. I recently traveled and was out of town for a few days.
Yeah.
And I was telling you how I had left I turned the heat off. And when I walked back into the office, I realized that.
Yeah.
It was the first thing I noticed before I even put my stuff on the table.
You could see the icicles hanging from the ceiling.
I thought that I would see frost.
Right.
Because I was just like, whoa, wait a sec. What? Oh, I forgot to turn the thermostat up a little bit. This one came in very handy that day.
I bet. Yeah.
I was kicking the tires on a little bit, and I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll use this thing to kind of boost the heat up quickly.
Sure.
So I'll talk a little bit first about the Solaris Max space heater.
Okay.
This guy's about 2 feet tall. And space heaters aren't really anything sexy. They're just kind of whatever they are. You turn them on and say low or high, and some of them let you choose a thermostat, like a temperature setting.
Sure. And
then some of them have oscillation.
Yeah.
That lets you kind of, spread the heat out across a room. So at about 2 feet, I realized this is a little bit narrow. I had a concern of what if, this is at home and I've got a couple of animals or kids playing or whatever. Like, I thought this looks like it might be prone to tip over. And it may be, but there's a feature actually built into it to keep it from overheating. So if it does tip beyond 45 degrees, it will shut off and it'll actually do like an alarm to kind of help you know that, hey, the animals knocked this thing over.
Sure.
Whereas I've had other heaters in the past that they aren't smart.
Yes.
It'll just continue to blow hot air on something and get to the point where it's like dangerously hot.
Right.
So I did like that feature.
Yeah, that's great.
Also at 2 feet, I liked that it was tall enough to kind of reach up to my knee. here in the office,
Mm-hmm.
plugged it in over there by the desk,
Mhm.
and it was a nice height. So it wasn't just kind of blowing like from a little hole out of the wall.
Sure.
It was an intentional kind of like beam or
Right.
like a row of heat.
Right.
And it was high enough to kind of warm my entire leg.
Nice.
So 2 feet tall. There are a handful of modes on here. There's like your heat in like 1, 2, and 3. There's also an eco mode, and I think there's just a fan
Oh,
to kind of blow.
Mm-hmm.
So all of those controls are done on a little digital LED readout panel
Okay.
at the top of it. Very easy to kind of figure out.
Right.
I think there's like 6 buttons to kind of see what's going on. You could set a timer on it. You can set it between 1 and 12 hours.
Nice.
So if you get in the office and you say, I want to just set this for the next 8 hours, not have to worry about it when you're done. This thing gets hot. Well, I won't say hot. This thing heats up quickly.
Okay.
It doesn't get hot, but it puts out heat
Right.
very quickly. I didn't have to wait very long before it was putting out something where I was like, this room's going to be warm here in no time.
Right.
So after a while, I actually had it start to oscillate because it was putting out such heat near me
Right.
that I wanted to kind of like spread the wealth around the room.
Sure.
And it was no time at all before the room got to the temperature I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And the thermostat here kicked off pretty much about the same time as it reached it on this heater.
Okay.
So that sensor is pretty accurate.
Nice.
It's a generally quiet device.
Yeah.
I think that, it's, I don't know how you talk about these, in a way that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess from what I've experienced with a space heater, sometimes it can be, if you're trying to, we have a space heater in our den because our den was an addition to the house we're in, and it doesn't heat as efficiently as the rest of the house.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're watching a show or something, we just got a really cheap one.
Mm-hmm.
Have to turn up the show because it can get kind of loud.
Yeah.
And so I know that's always a concern with these is, you turn them on because you need the heat and you want the comfort of the temperature, but is it noticeable? Do you know when it's on all the time? How does it sound there?
So for this one, I turned it up to 3,
Uh-huh.
like the high, and then I also had just set, I just put the temperature where I wanted it.
Yeah.
I didn't really have a problem with it putting out, like same thing at home. I have space heaters that are a little bit more compact, little, not a whole lot bigger than, like, say, I guess, like a medicine ball or something.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
And they, to your same point, is they get a little loud.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to bed at night and I want the room warm, or if I'm down in the basement in a room that I don't normally go to, I'm just fine with kicking that thing on.
Sure.
Here, I didn't really notice it. I'll put music on here in the office. Obviously, notice it when you turn it off.
Yeah.
It's just that kind of like white noise.
Sure.
But there was nothing at any of the levels that I did it where I was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
It's got to be loud because of how efficient it is.
Right.
But yeah, it's even, especially at the lowest setting, it's just really quiet.
Nice.
I don't know decibel rating, what it was set at.
Okay.
Or what they kind of claim it would be.
Sure.
Another thing to also point out is there is a remote that comes with it.
Oh, nice.
So if you're laying in bed and you get up and you're like, I need to warm this room up, or, if you're playing it, I was using it in the basement and like playing PlayStation.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, I was just like, all right, I'm getting a little toasty.
Yeah.
The remote's nice. I don't have to get up, go over there to do that.
Right.
Likewise, there is a handle built into the back, kind of like a recess thing.
Yeah.
So if you need to pick it up and kind of point it in a different direction or take it to another room, it travels very easily.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, I like this. I don't know. I mean, I think Honeywell was the other brand that I've tested in the past.
Sure.
I think that's who we might have at home. But so far, this is the second DREO product that I've tested, and I like the brand. So far, I would say they're 2 for 2.
Cool.
On those. And that kind of leads into the Macro Max S.
Yeah.
It's an air purifier. Oh, I should also point out the price on that guy is $85
For the space heater.
for the space heater.
Okay.
Yep. I did score it, and I think I ended up giving it an average score. Let me see if I have it here. 4.0, I think, across the board.
Yeah, looks like.
Yeah, 4s and everything.
It's great.
So that's great.
Yeah.
Out of 5, and I mean, if you're getting into 5s, you're really, really punching above your weight.
Sure.
Doing very well.
Sure.
So that's the Solaris Max. Now, the Macro Max S is a purifier that it looks kind of like a small, I mean, it's got like a silverish gray design to it.
Yeah.
When you power it on, it's got like this little blue, like a gradient light.
Right.
It doesn't dance or do anything. Then the light doesn't change. Like it's filling up more, like it's collecting more
pure air.
Or putting out, hey, look over there. You can see how many microns of dust I've collected.
Right.
But it just kind of looks cool. It's like it's like an intentional design thing.
Mm-hmm.
This one also has an LED panel for buttons. This is on the top of it.
Okay.
Size-wise, it's maybe, to describe it, would you say like a little bit smaller footprint than like maybe like a kitchen trash can?
Yeah, it's almost like the size of like if you would put a duffel bag on edge.
Great. Yes. So for those imagining that,
yeah,
it's a duffel bag on end. Yep. So this guy works really well on its own, but it also works well because it has a mobile app.
Oh, nice.
And it also works well because you can tie it to your smart home. If you have Google Assistant or Amazon Alexa, you can control it that way.
Nice.
And I think that's really handy.
Yeah.
On its own, I think, it works well. It's an H13 HEPA filter, HEPA. I don't know a ton about those. This is an electrostatic filter. When you can replace it on the back. It's kind of like a drum shape. You open it up, pull it out. The display will show you the air filter life on it, like a percentage.
Yeah.
And you can kind of toggle through and see what is the air quality, what is the air filter life.
Yeah.
So there are some things on the readout you can kind of adjust.
Okay.
So you don't have to have any apps or anything like if this is for your grandparents.
Right.
Or in just some office where nobody's in charge of managing it.
Right.
Works very well that way. But if you have it in, like, say, a personal office, like what we have here, it's even better because I've tied it to my Google Assistant. When I come in, I can just say, hey, prompt it.
Yeah.
Turn on the air purifier.
Right.
And it'll kick on. It's nice and quiet. I don't think it's going to.
No, it didn't.
I tried to dance around that a little bit. And it's very quiet. You can also adjust, like if you have a smart display, that will pop up and you can control, like if you want to do like a turbo mode. Oh, yeah. There's a color coding, I believe, on this one that will show you kind of like the air quality. So you can look at it and kind of get at a glance. I think it's only been blue here, but I think they also do some other colors. Yeah, what different colors represent. Blue means the air quality is excellent.
Ooh.
Green is good. Orange, moderate. Red is poor. So you can kind of look at it and get a sense for what's going on. So that back to that H13.
Yes.
I looked that up to kind of figure out what is that. And it basically says it's rated to grab things at a certain micron size.
Okay.
And how much of those particles it will filter. So, according to them, it will grab particles as small as 0.3 microns, and it will grab 99.985% of those.
Wow.
So, just a quick Googling of H13 HEPA filters landed on something about the same as that. It was like 99.95, as small as 0.2 microns. So, I don't know if theirs is maybe a little bit more accurate or specific to that.
Right.
So it'll grab pretty much any bacteria. It's the electrocharge filter, so it's not going to necessarily prevent you from getting COVID, but
Right.
this is the kind of thing, it's among the highest rated
Yeah.
when it comes to the H levels, is my understanding.
Yeah.
I think maybe 14 or 15
Nice.
might be the highest.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
Dear listener, I would love to learn more about this actually. So it's a cool unit. It's efficient. According to their website, like a typical room, I think we're in like maybe a 15 by 20 here. It will do a room of about 220 square feet within about 6 to 7 minutes.
Wow.
And if it's a bigger room of say 400 and some square feet, about 12 and a half minutes. So it's pretty quick.
Yeah.
It was one of those things for me. I kick it on when I, first set it up.
Sure.
I don't really notice anything, but when I head down to the restroom, or the mailbox, and come back, you can just kind of get the sense that the air in this room
Yes.
is a whole lot better than the air out in the hallway.
Right.
It feels better, and it just kind of has that sense of like, okay, this doesn't feel like there's any, like it doesn't feel like it needs to be vacuumed.
Sure.
I can imagine like dander and things like that are in the house, those types of things. But when it does come time to cleaning out that filter, looks really easy to do.
Sure.
You just pop this panel off the back and pull it out and clean it.
Yeah.
So I like this thing a lot. I can't speak to how competitive the price is on it, but I would say DREO is a brand that I am happy to recommend. This says it's a 24 decibel ultra quiet.
Yeah.
I think that's just on the lowest rate. I think it's as low as that.
Okay.
When you kick it on, this does make a little bit more noise than, say, that space heater.
Sure.
But it's also doing more to the air to kind of do some work. But at $220 is the price point on this. It's got a handful of certifications.
Okay.
Energy Star. I think there's something specific to California. So they have some different regulations out there. I think this is a cool little unit. We're obviously not a home appliance kind of review site. No. But I think for somebody who says, hey, I trust you guys kind of have a good feel for tech and things like that. Right. I would say if you see the brand, definitely give them a second look.
Sure. So, well, and the fact that it integrates with any kind of smart home. Well, or a couple of different smart homes. That's a nice feature too.
And there is a mobile app. So with this one, you can pull it up and see those things on the phone. Yeah. You can adjust some of those settings. So if you wanted to use like a quick turbo mode, I'm going to try it while we're talking here just to see if it picks it up in the background. But I think that on its own, it works good. It does all its stuff. If you use the app, then you're talking great. Yes. And then if you have a smart home, it's even greater. Yeah. To have all those things. So let me kick this on. Let's see if it picks it up. I'm going to put it on turbo. There we go. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not.
It is running.
It's running now, yeah. So it's kind of quiet.
It's taking off.
Yeah, it does kind of slowly build up to its point, but then once it's there.
Yeah, it's reached its highest level, it seems like.
So then if you go over to manual mode, you can dial it like from a scale of like 1 to, I think, 18. It's like a weird number. You can also turn that light on and off.
Oh, that's nice.
If you don't want that, you can also turn off adaptive brightness, so it doesn't have to be always super bright.
Sure.
And then you can also do a child lock on the app.
Yeah.
So if you're worried about one of your kids coming along and messing with something, you could kind of override that. Yeah. Setting it up to Wi-Fi was as simple as holding a button down for like 5 seconds and pairing it to your phone. Yeah. Find it, tell it what the Wi-Fi is, and you're up and running right away. It was super easy to add to the Google Assistant too. Nice. So definitely would recommend this one.
Yeah. So that's our, 2 pairings from DREO. Yep. The Macro Max S air purifier and the Solaris Max space heater.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Scott.
You're welcome. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast.
Thanks for listening.
We appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, feedback, concerns, comments, anything, shoot us an email at podcast@AndroidGuys.com. We'd love to hear from you one way or the other. Luke, if someone wants to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
I am on Instagram and Twitter at Luke Gaul, Gaul.
And I'm on Instagram at Scott Webster and Twitter as SWebster77. Until next time, thanks for listening.
See ya.